Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the Asteri Sofia Kairos weekly forecast. We are going to look at the final week, that transitional week between the 27th of August and the 3rd of September. We mentioned it a few weeks ago, but our weeks are weird because we start on Wednesday. It's Mercury Day, and we realize that we never really explain that to anyone else because we just think in astrology minds. We're like,
We
that,
do.
that makes sense. We don't have to say any of that.
It totally does. Yeah.
So this is just the last mercurial week from Wednesday, August 27th to Wednesday, September 3rd. My name is Christa of Practical Astros. I'm here with Shawna of SmartAsstro. See this nice little peach on there that cracked me up. Shawna made the slides this week. And this is the final week that we're going to be talking about for August, but a lot of it will be in September. Do you want to read through what we're going to talk about today?
Yeah, sure. So week 5, rounding out the end of the month, we have on the 27th, Leo, Venus in Leo. Yep. Words. Good. Words
Yep,
are good.
they
Venus in
exist.
Leo. Opposite Pluto and Aquarius, that Leo Aquarius axis. Here we go. September 1st, Saturn is leaving Aries. Bye, Felicia. I love that you added that. And moving back into Pisces for one last dip in the water. And then September 2nd, Mercury lands in exaltation in Virgo.
Yep. Love that. Love that. We're just going to focus on one chart because it mostly stays the same. If we look, it's just within a couple of days of each other. But the first one we're going to look at is that Venus in Leo. Venus has been in Cancer for a few weeks. She had that glorious union with Jupiter and she left. Cancer is now into Leo, but immediately runs into the opposition to Pluto. That's just kind of what happens. When she entered Cancer, she immediately ran into a square with Saturn and Neptune. So I just imagine her tripping through the doorway, getting it over with, and then just having an easier ride. This is not the first time they have opposed each other, so this is not her first rodeo. But what a rodeo, Venus opposite Pluto. I have thoughts, but I want to hear what you have to say.
Yeah, you really conjured an image there for me. Big ball gown, maybe Cinderella-like, and losing her shoe, right?
Yep.
Or tripping through the doorway. That's totally something I would do. I'm a major klutz. But yeah, she's met Pluto before. She's not scared of the underworld, so
Yep.
we can ride that out.
Yeah, this connection with these two, I'm just partial to it. I find that the unearthing, the excavation, the power, the riches, the wealth that Pluto can help us find. Venus is also there to display and share the wealth. And so in opposition is really the most powerful aspect because a conjunction isn't an aspect, right? They merge. The opposition is that tension, that full moon moment between two planets where they're in a duel or they lock eyes across the ballroom, whatever it is, it's very, very intense. And there's so much power and tension between these two. And there's in Native American medicine, for animal medicine, there's the myth with all the different animals, and you can get like oracle cards that pull the animals. I love using the animals just as, mythological teachers. The deer, the story of the deer, I'll find it and share it just in the show notes of this, but it's roughly the deer has the grace to kind of go up the mountain to face this horrible evil. And because she has compassion, she can get closer and closer to that monster when everyone else has run away. And that's what it reminds me of. Venus, through her compassion, can get very close to Pluto. Everyone else is scared of Pluto because Pluto is not easy. Pluto is not just, whoa, transformation, man. It's like really serious stuff, which is excellent. I love Pluto for that. But Pluto is not to be trifled with. Venus is the one that I think has the compassionate key to help reveal the riches that Pluto unearths. Pluto is not necessarily discerning. It's just that excavator of pulling up all the stuff that we have let settle down. And for that, I like it just as an artistic expression, as a practice in compassion, but it reminds me of that deer myth. And I'll share that in the show notes. I won't go into it now just because I don't want to butcher it. I want to make sure that I get it all right. But it's worth the read. And I think it's good for all of us to kind of find where is that tension in the Leo Aquarius axis just within our own chart.
Yeah. Pluto is the sludge in the pipes. Pluto's that when you get your foot stuck in the mud and You know, you don't know if it's better to move quickly or move slowly, or find the combination of the two just to get yourself freed up again. But yeah, I love that deer myth idea.
Well, and she's at that 1 degree, Venus is, which is getting a sextile from Uranus, it's getting
Mhm.
a trine from Neptune and Saturn,
Mhm.
while, Pluto is opposite. Pluto is getting a trine from Uranus and a sextile from Neptune and Saturn. So they're all kind of involved with each other here. Venus as being that smaller moving planet, kind of participating with these bigger, more outer energies, to me, bringing it a little bit home. And that Mercury is co-present with her. It's a little far away, but it'll be kind of a beautiful unearthing of mystery to me on that 27th of August. She's fully recharged with that union with Jupiter too. So I think she's got some good fairy dust from that union
Yeah.
that she's probably
Yeah.
still carrying with her.
Yeah.
But then, a couple of days later, on the 1st of September, we have Saturn leaving Aries. Bye bye. I'm really kind of looking forward to that.
Yeah. One last refresh,
Yeah.
right? One last refresh.
Saturn going into Pisces a couple years ago, I didn't think that I liked, but having
Mhm.
Saturn in Aries, I'm like, I'll take a Saturn in Pisces.
Mhm. Mhm.
It's been
Yeah,
tricky.
Saturn likes the coolness for sure.
Mhm.
He doesn't do so great with the heat.
There's the concept in Hellenistic astrology of a planet exalting, so planet finding its way on the throne and having all of its needs brought to it and being fully supplied. So Saturn exalts in Libra.
Mhm.
So when Saturn is not in Libra, and it's in its opposite sign, it's considered fallen.
Mhm.
So if you think of something being put up on a pedestal as being exalted, but then falling off that pedestal, it's kind of injured. It's not in great condition, and sometimes a planet not in great condition means it can't act the significations of its own self very well. And you look at that in theory and think like, oh, well, you can't be so bad. But Saturn fallen is kind of,
Like a toddler throwing a tantrum.
yeah, it's a little
Yeah.
unwieldy in that fiery sign,
Yeah.
especially with Mars also not at home. It's exiled. It's still oppositional against that Saturn. So
Mhm.
I'm looking forward to that, of Saturn dipping back into Pisces, just to get away from that, have a break, and then maybe recalibrate when Saturn goes back into Aries.
Yeah. I think it'll feel a lot better too once you get Mars out of Libra.
Yep.
It'll feel like a different Saturn in Aries. We can focus on those issues instead of the adding in the tension of the, Mars and a Venus sign also.
Yeah. I mean, it's
Yeah.
been kind of a tough summer for a lot of people. And I feel like that the Saturn moving out of that sign might ease up a little bit,
Hmm.
just in time for eclipses to really change our fate. So,
That's okay. Maybe that's what we need,
yeah.
right? Change
Yeah.
of fate. Hmm.
So after Saturn leaves Aries, we don't have it on the chart here, but on the 2nd of September, Mercury, that's down here. I'm going to tell a little story really quick. A friend of
Yeah.
mine, she is ruled by Mercury. Her son is ruled by Mercury. And she told this cute story of when she was a kid, because her mom knew a little bit of astrology. She knew that Mercury was kind of one of her planets.
Uh-huh.
And so she used to draw the Mercury symbol a whole bunch.
Hmm.
But then she lived in a place that was very hyper Christian. And other kids were like, that looks like the devil. Are you a devil worshiper?
Uh-huh.
And I think it's hilarious that she like drew the Mercury symbol, and people thought it was a devil because Mercury does have that little trickster look to
Yeah.
it,
Yeah. Yeah.
There were other tangential stories of their stupidity and her stupidity. Like she was very proud to find out that her religion was non-denominational because she didn't know what that meant anyway. I just thought it was super cute. It's such a mercurial thing. Mercury is definitely kind of a devilish trickster here. The phase that it's in, though, according to Gary Caton, is the philosopher phase. So maybe he's a little less trickstery. But Mercury, this little shapeshifter of a planet, is in Leo on this day with the Venus opposite Pluto, but it will move into Virgo, its sign of exaltation and domicile, on September 2nd.
Hmm.
So yeah, I just wanted to share that little one because whenever I see that sigil now, I'm like, this tiny little
Tiny little
devil.
devil. Yeah. Um, You said non-denominational. That's actually really cute. I mean, Mercury doesn't want to be tied to anything.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The question there was like, what kind of, what's your faith or what's your religion? She didn't know. So she went home, asked her mom. She's like, oh, we're non-denominational. And she like walked back in like, this is what I'm whatever that
I'm
is.
non-dom. Yeah.
But yeah, Mercury likes to find themselves in the first house where it can kind of go back and forth between the worlds.
Yeah.
It's not a part of a sect team. It doesn't play by the rules like all the other ones. So yeah, Mercury is non-denominational for sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
But so Mercury's going to be in a great spot. It is direct. It is past the retrograde of when it was in Leo. It's at home and exalted there in Virgo, and it's going to catch up with the Sun and Cazimi pretty soon. So we've got that to look forward to. It will be close to the Sun, but it won't be considered burned up. The phrase is in its own chariot, so it won't be visible, but it's protected in that sense.
Yeah, he's got a limo driver this time.
Mm-hmm. So, what are some keywords or some riddles that you have for Mercury and Virgo?
Oh, besides Google Docs or spreadsheets or, usual boring Virgo stuff. No, I think Virgo gets a lot of slack for being too on point, too on top of things, too, forward thinking. I I don't think there's anything, or that's real too forward thinking, but I think it's a good chance to, reset some boundaries too, especially since we'll have Saturn back in Pisces for a minute and reestablish yourself before it moves back into Aries. Virgo. I mentioned for the week before being able to open up those windows and breathe some fresh air. Like recalibration is a great word, I think, for Virgo.
Yeah.
Recalibrating after Leo.
Well, the myth around the virgin, what that means is that it's someone that's true to themselves.
The purity
And
of it.
yeah, it's like marrying yourself or like making the commitment to yourself. Mercury going into Virgo, just past that new moon in Virgo, maybe there's this recommitment to tending to what you need and being thorough. Virgo is very thorough. I think of like wiping the top of your fridge all the way to the corner and making sure that there's no like crescent of dirt. That's a very Virgoan thing. And no one's going to know but you, but in your mind, you can just get it done and not have to think about it. So someone wrote recently about how it's really all of the distraction that's around us currently. Even this video is a distraction from what you should be doing. So thanks for listening. It's a theft of our time and our attention. And if we fill up our attention with things that nourish us, that are healing, that are practical, that are functional, then we have the space also to enjoy the spiritual and the wonder. And there's this balance. To me, the balance between Pisces and Virgo is that mundane magic and that spiritual magic. It's like tending to the self, the boringness of having a clean refrigerator so you don't get sick from having mold growing on your shelves. It's like it's a very practical thing, but having a healthy body, having that really tended to body makes it so that you don't have the distraction of having to deal with that, to then really lean into that Piscean, especially with the North Node there, the Piscean seeking for the truths that aren't practical. You have that kind of balance between the two. And I think we'll see more of that with the eclipses. But having Mercury there, it's like lean into the nerdiness of deep cleaning, of purification, being a little anal retentive, holding spreadsheets, whatever it is. Like we're not always going to be like that. And that ebb and flow of the Mercury temple of Gemini and Virgo, Gemini is there just to gather the information. Virgo is there to kind of sort it out. And there's a lot of meditative healing and sorting it out. I have 3 planets in Virgo, and recently it kind of dawned on me like maybe what an expression of that is I've always loved to untangle chains necklaces, and I would always be given them as a kid because I would just like get a needle or whatever. And I would love, it was so meditative to get them out. And so my mom's friends would give them to me at church. And I would take them home and I would undo them and I would like lay them out or like tape them to a bag so they didn't get, it's like that. It's very practical, but it was so soothing to my mind of just unraveling and making order of what was complicated. And I think that there's just so much beauty with that. So Mercury and Virgo is also, Shawna sent another astrology podcast with a sped up 1.75. And I was like, that kind of makes sense to me because sometimes I talk too slow for myself. So I always speed myself up if I have to re-listen to myself for, some god awful reason. So I always speed it up. And I feel like when Mercury goes into a place like Virgo, it's all about speeding it up so we can get more information. Let's go,
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, another great word I think for Virgo that maybe gets overlooked is harvest, right? Like it is the virgin, it is the purity, it's the collection, I think in this time of year too for us up north anyway, it's harvesting and it's the purest form of what you can harvest. Right? So, and then being able to practice whatever skills you need to, or, find ways to repair things. You were just talking about the necklace chains, that's untangling all those knots. It's fantastic.
Yeah. I also think of, Virgo has an exaltation and domicile ruler of Mercury. And the place where Mercury doesn't do well is in Pisces, right? Because it's fallen and exiled in Pisces. But there's something about Jupiter, which rules Pisces, is down there in Cancer. It's sextile by whole sign house, that Virgo house, but it's pretty closely sextile that South Node. And I think that there's this opportunity with the sextile from this kind of oddball planet of Jupiter looking at the Virgo house of being helpful, of really leaning into that spiritual, mundane work. There's something there. I mean, Jupiter is trying the North Node up there, but I feel like there's some sort of Jupiterian support. Sextiles are hard to spot because they're very subtle. They're these opportunities. Like in Tarot, it's the ace card. Like the hand comes out of the cloud, but sometimes you're too busy with road rage to see the opportunity coming to you, like an exit to get out of the situation. But Jupiter, I feel like Jupiter is going to play some sort of part on this. When this is not the exact chart, so I pulled it up on my phone. Jupiter is going to be 18 degrees 9 minutes, and the South Node is 18 degrees 22 minutes. So they're very tight. The Moon is going to be in Capricorn the day that Mercury goes into Virgo. So we have an earthy Moon trining that Mercury and the Sun together.
Great chance for decluttering. Yeah.
And as a tip, if you're going to declutter, take the stuff, take it out to your car and tie up the bag so you can't see what's in it. So
don't go through it again. Make a decision and don't go through it again.
Yep.
Watch for overanalyzing.
And I think that gets us through the week. Very practical week, really spicy to begin with that Venus opposite Pluto. But then we just get to sort it all out with all the Virgo energy.
Yeah. Awesome.
All right. Well, we will see you in September, and we'll tell you a little bit more about the eclipse workshop that we're giving September 13th. The first eclipse is September 7th. The second eclipse is September 21st. So we're going to meet at the bendings right in the middle of the two eclipses. We really tried to find a good date that would kind of worked for everybody, that wasn't stepping on any other workshop toes. And this date really kind of worked out the best. So we'll send out some more information of what that means, what that looks like. But we had a really great time doing it in March. And so we're going to repeat it, adding more stuff, continuing the stuff that we felt was useful. And the eclipses have to do with our lunar experience on Earth, right? And to share it collectively with other people, I think is helpful.
Yeah, for sure. And that first class, you can still get it. It's still available for purchase if you wanted to play catch up, because we're hoping that this is going to unfold a little bit further with this next session. We're hoping it's going to continue as a series too. So please come join us. There's still plenty to get out of it though, if you didn't participate or decide not to purchase the first class too.
Yeah. And there will be a number of us there. Last time, one of the shinier moments was when we went into breakout rooms and we did little mini chart readings of each participant. anybody that attends live kind of has that chance to, if you want, we can put your birth chart up there, and then we can kind of help you begin to unravel the chains, the tangled up chains of your understanding of how the nodes are going to be in your own natal chart. It's a fun way to just connect with other people interested in astrology, but then also you get a little mini chart reading out of it. So we hope that you join us, and we'll see you again for the forecast. A couple of us will, at least, in September. So we hope you have had a good month of August, and let us know in the comments if any of this landed, or if you have any astrology good stories, or just, what's going on with you for August. So thanks, Shawna, for joining me for this week.
Yeah,